So we're starting something new. Each Monday on this channel will now be Motivational Mondays. And what those will be is anything that I watch, view, or see that is particularly motivating. And I had a random thought today where I was reminded of a motivational speech that I have watched for like 10 years on and off. And every time that I think about it, I kind of become obsessed with it all over again. And I know so much of it that I have the majority of it memorized. And that's like not hard for me, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it shows it's a mark of how well I love it. And so today I was reminded of this. I've already watched it like 3 or 4 times while thinking about if I was going to use it as today's content, and I am. So the speech is "How Bad Do You Want It" by Eric Thomas, and he gives this years ago at what I'm assuming is a college, and I got showed a little small portion of it, and then I was like, but wait, there's probably more. So then I found this video on YouTube. So on YouTube, it's "How Bad Do You Want It," and I'll link that full video down below. So we're going to break it down into 4 different clips and then talk about it. So this is clip number 1.
He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you're trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to want it. You got to go days without, listen to me, you got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat.
All right, so let's break it down. So the very first thing that he says in the video is he's talking about this story that he told about a man who wanted to be successful. So he went to a guru. The guru told him to meet him at the beach, brings him out all the way into the water, and then holds him down under the water. And the man's fighting him, and then eventually he raises him up, and he's like, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? And he said, I wanted to breathe. And he's talking about like comparing that to an asthma attack or any kind of condition that you have that takes your breath away or makes it feel like it's hard to breathe. And when you're in the middle of one of those attacks, I have it with anxiety. So when I'm really, really anxious and in the middle of an anxiety attack, I personally feel like I can't breathe. My chest is tight. I feel like my lungs won't expand. It's a whole thing. So in those moments, the only thing I care about is trying to get a breath of fresh air. And that becomes first and foremost. It doesn't matter if I'm at work or if I'm at school or anything like that. Like that is the thing that I want to do. And then he's talking about how, like comparing that to these college students who are at a party. And he's like, when all you want to do is breathe, those things fall away. You don't care who's on TV. You don't care about a basketball game. You don't care about anybody calling you. And then he talks about how, you gotta want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat and you forget to sleep. And you're willing to work off of 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, and maybe even stay up days in a row because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. Love all of that. I personally have insomnia, and so it's really funny when people are like, oh my gosh, like you never sleep, or like, when do you sleep? And I'm like, yeah, I sleep when my body tells me to sleep, and I sleep when I can. However, I am very productive sometimes when I can't sleep because I'm up doing stuff like this, or I'm reading or homework or school, and you're able to, like, for me, having insomnia and not being able to sleep anyway, I'm able to work full time and go to school full time and do the content stuff on the side and run a nonprofit on the side. And it's one of those things that I truly believe that if you're passionate enough about it, you will find the time to do that. And even if that means that sleep becomes something you sacrifice, but it's about caring more about that success than that you're willing to be temporarily uncomfortable and temporarily tired. And then he talks about forgetting to eat. And that one is just, I don't really have a good reason as to why I feel it. The main thing is that when I forget to eat, it's typically because I got so busy doing something else that my brain wasn't even on food. And I truly think that that could be the mark of good success, but it's something that you also have to be careful about, because you don't want to, starve yourself or stay up for 3 or 4 days in a row, or, like everything in moderation. But I really love the extreme of that, and talking about like when you really want to be successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And when it becomes that essential to you to work on your success and do what you're doing, then that's the mark of being successful. So his second clip.
You got it. It says to be, watch this. We're talking about sacrifice now. The important thing is this. You're right while I'm saying it, because I only have about 3 more minutes. Listen to me. The most important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. That's the number 2 thing. You got to catch that one. To be able to, listen to me, at any moment. Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attach to it. For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, man, some of you focus until the phone rings, and you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna hurt somebody. Some of you need to give up your cell phone, because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success. The time you could be using to be successful, you're using it on the cell. And the cell phone is not bringing you nothing but a bill. And somebody has told you you couldn't live without it. I'm talking about going deep now, giving up stuff. Watch what it says. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be.
Something is specific or important when they repeat it multiple times. So the fact that he repeats this saying 3 times, and I'm going to repeat it a 4th, but to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you could become. It's very important to recognize that, because we talk about comfortability. It's a lot easier to be comfortable and keep doing what you're doing than to get uncomfortable and be willing to change. And I think that that's really fascinating, because there's a lot that, we don't really like to do, because the idea of it means that we have to change something that we're comfortable about, or, start doing more when we're wanting to be lazy, or, whatever it is. So the motivation that I get from that, talking about to be able at any moment. And I am thinking about that in the sense of like, when it's school time, I have to give up, maybe hanging out with my friends or watching a TV show or something like that to study. When it comes to work, if I want to pay my bills and be a grown up, I gotta work. And so that means that I have to say no to some things. But on the flip side, it's also knowing what's really important. And so if there is something that is particularly important and super, specific that I do, I'm willing to give up work to do that and to show up for those things. And so I was told by a coach that I had last year, she and I were talking about, all these things that I was doing. And she was like, well, why aren't you like following through on them? Like, you say you want to go to the gym. What's stopping you from going to the gym? And I was like, I put it on my calendar and then I don't get in the car and drive. I don't know. And she just kind of called me out on that, because we were talking and she was like, if you valued these things, you would do them. And so the fact that you're not doing them or that you're struggling to do them means that you don't really value them as much as you say you do, and that's being inconsistent. And so, like if it really truly matters to you and you really truly value it, then you need to go ahead and follow through. And I was a little upset. I was like, that's rude. But she has a great point, and I have been learning that and striving to do that just a little bit better. But yeah, it is getting to that point where, you know, putting in the work and sacrificing the things that don't necessarily matter as much right now to do the thing that you're wanting to do to succeed. Taking the time away from reading to study or to do scripture stuff or church stuff or school stuff or work stuff, because reading is my escape, and it's my little happy place. But I can't read all the time. I've got stuff to do. So yeah, I love this. I think that this is one of the best pieces of his stuff. And we're gonna go on to the next one.
Listen to me. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute or an hour or a day or even a year. But eventually it will subside and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. Listen to me, I'm telling you as I leave. I was homeless for 2.5 years. And the problem with most of you never felt no pain before. Y'all spoiled. Some of y'all spoiled. Just bottom line. Your parents have done everything for you. You never had to do nothing for yourself. You're spoiled. We're going to keep it real tonight. Some of you are spoiled brats. Every time you ever got in trouble, somebody in your house got you out of it. Every time you've done something you're not supposed to do, people say, Eric, your mother's a tyrant. You're right. She kicked me out. You're right. She's mean, but she developed a man because she put me out there and said, you're going to have to grow up. And some of you have never learned to grow up. And so every time something gets hard, you quit, you call mama. I dare you to take a little pain. I dare you. I dare you not to go home. Somebody said, I gotta go home, I feel bad. Go through it. You ain't gonna die. At the end of pain is success. You're not gonna die because you're feeling a little pain. I'm not eating like I eat at home. That's why you're about to go to the next level, because if you keep eating like you ate at home, you'll keep being a boy or a girl. It's time to become man, woman.
So the very first thing that he says in this video, or this segment of the clip, is that pain is temporary, and no matter how long it lasts, eventually it will subside and something will take its place. And I think that is so inspirational and hopeful, because I have felt a lot of pain in my life. Everybody has felt a lot of pain in your life, but there has always been talk about how you find meaning in it. One of my favorite quotes is, life is not about what happens to you, it's about what you choose to do with what happens. And that's pretty entertaining when we're talking about the things that we've been through, because it really is the mark of somebody who is healing versus somebody who is being controlled and led by what's happened to them. And I love it because, if you quit, he says, if you quit, however, it will last forever. Those people who don't handle their pain, those people who try to bottle it up or hide from it, they are affected by it for years. I personally dealt with a lot of stuff as a child that I compartmentalized and associated with different identities. So whatever nickname I went by or whatever name I went by at the time, that was her drama and that was her trauma. And so then when I changed my name or started going by a new nickname, I kind of bottled it up and left it there and didn't deal with it. And then at 22, 23 years old, that everything that I experienced with loss forced me to confront it, forced me to deal with it, because at that point I was too emotionally exhausted to sit there and grieve and deal with all of this at the same time. And while I'm grateful that I did go through it, I'm thinking about all of the 20 years, or 15 to 20 years that I carried some of this with me, that I could have dealt with it then, and processed it then, instead of trying to bottle it up and hide it away. So I promise, it is way easier to handle the pain in the moment, and work through it then, than to try and ignore it and hope that it'll go away, because it won't go away on its own unless you handle it. But if you handle it, that's where the success comes in.
But I'm saying today it's got to go from external to internal. You have to give it everything you got. No more TV, no more parties, no more playing. If you don't have a 4.0, what you need to be doing is studying. Get off the phone. I'm sorry, I'm not available until the end of this year. No, I'm for real. You reached the right number, but you called me at the wrong time. Call me back January 1st. I'm about to get busy now. Huh? I want you to have a countdown of your own and say when the countdown is over, where the real, watch me, because when I was homeless, I knew something was wrong. I knew that wasn't the best of me. And one day I said, will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? Will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? Stop being this high school dropout. Stop giving up. Stop sleeping on the street. Stop walking up and down Fecal Avenue like you ain't got nothing, and get your GED. Stop being afraid to take a test. Stop being afraid to go to college because your daddy didn't go and your mama didn't go. Stop being afraid and be the best Eric Thomas you can be. But listen to me, it's going to be hard.
So you can definitely tell that this is a video given or, tailored to a college student, which I love because I'm in college right now. And so I do relate to this, that, going from external to internal. It's not about, what job is going to make you the most money. It's not about, oh, I've got to get good grades so I can da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's giving it everything you've got because you need it and you want it in yourself. And even if no one gave you a dime because to do what you're doing, you still want to do it. And you're still going to do it no matter what. No, there's no price tag that can make you do it. Like, you're already doing it. And I love that he addresses that because he talks about, no more TV, no more partying. Like, you've just got to knuckle down and do it. But it applies to anything. Like, if you're at work and you're wanting a promotion or you're wanting some kind of bonus or anything like that, if there's a place for advancement, if you have that, thing you're working towards, that needs to take center stage. That needs to become so core in your life that you are progressing that way, and not letting yourself be distracted by TV or parties or plans, like, just doing it. So I love this little bit of funny here where he's talking about, getting off of the phone and, telling them, oh, you've reached the right number, but you called me at the wrong time. Call me back January 1st because I'm about to get busy now. It was probably more practical of a suggestion of like that extreme getting off the phone, but I don't think that that's plausible to a lot of people right now. But it is that saying something when you can be like, when you're so invested into what you're doing that you're telling people, hey, look, I can't, I can't come out right now. I can't party tonight. I can't, do this and this and this because I'm studying, because I am focused on whatever I am needing to be doing. That's going to get you the goals and the results that you want. That is important. So I love a countdown. I love a fresh start or a deadline or something definitive that you can mark on your calendar and say, this is the day that everything changed, or this is the day that I got serious, or this is the day I started actively pursuing my goals. And so his version of that is will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? And I love that. I think that everybody should have that honest to God conversation with themselves and be like, where am I at? Do I like who I am? Do I like what I'm doing? If I don't, what can I change? Because a lot of our unsatisfaction with life is from stuff that is completely within our control to change. And if you want to do better and you want to, mean better and get more serious, then that's completely up to you to follow through with that. I love that he gives this vulnerability side of it, of talking about himself and like where he was, having been homeless for 2.5 years, and that switch, where he went from you gotta do it, like you gotta do it because it doesn't matter that your parents didn't do it. It doesn't matter that people say this or people say that. Like, this is on you now. And we do get to that point where it's not up to our parents. It's not up to anybody else to decide what we're going to do with our lives. And I think that is really important because at the end of the day, it's your life. It gets to be and look like whatever you want it to be and look like. And so him talking about, this is completely possible. It took him, 12 years to get his degree, but he did it. And, it was hard work. Things that come to, that are worth anything in life do not come easy. They're not supposed to. we don't really value the things that come easy as much as we value the things that took work, that we had to, you know, fight our way through to accomplish. But the satisfaction is just so sweet when we do. So I love this. The whole video is amazing. It is such a motivational thing. It's something like when I'm getting lazy or complacent is really the best word for it. In those moments where I'm complacent, I can watch this and feel like I'm ready to hit the ground running again, which is I'm very grateful that Eric did this, because I think that we need more of this in our lives as, you know, fuel to keep us going and help us stave off the distractions. So I'm so excited to be able to have a memory like I do and remember things like this video that I've, you know, seen a dozen times and wanting to share with you and share my thoughts on that, but also being able to have the technology that we have, that I can find it, or to be involved and have the platforms I have to be able to share that, because I think that part is so important. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope it has left you motivated, and I am so excited to start this new segment of our Motivational Mondays, and I will see you next week.